Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Neon. I am here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
And we're going to talk about Disney's magical attempts to keep a hold of the Predator rights and what they intend to do with Predator. They're going to turn it into a Disney princess movie.
Well, no, it sounds very Mulan-esque, but yes.
Yeah, we're going to talk about the direction Disney wants to take Predator in if they can retain the rights. This is a very complicated legal battle that Disney is in. Basically, as I understand it, the screenwriters of the original Predator were kind of leasing their concept to Fox, and Disney acquired Predator, but they don't really own it lock, stock, and barrel. They have to fight to keep it because after, 35 years, the rights revert back to the screenwriters, and this is going to, a lot of people said, going to be an apocalyptic scenario for Hollywood because a lot of movies that were created in the 80s are now coming up on this 35-year mark.
Yeah, so I'm waiting for Disney to try to get the laws changed to make sure that, the studio's going to keep it, and the studios will back it because they want to keep the rights too and cut out the creators.
Yeah, so
if I were to guess.
Not that Disney has ever changed copyright law.
Right.
Before.
How long ago is Mickey supposed to go into public domain?
Yeah,
I'm just saying, I can totally see them start. It seems like a stalling attempt to try to find another legal way to rip the rights from somebody.
So we're going to talk about that. We're going to have a couple doses of dismal Disney today. Before we get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. We're over 190,000. Less than 100 away from 191, I think, last time I checked. So thank you so much for the support. So before we get into the legal angle of Disney's Predator, this is what they intended to do with it. They cast this Amber Midthunder as the lead, and it sounds a lot like Mulan or Pocahontas with aliens.
Pretty much. I mean, if you go down to the description, they cast her, and here's what the premise is. The newest installment on Predator franchise will follow Midthunder, a Comanche woman who goes against gender norms and traditions to become a warrior.
Wait, let's highlight that. Wait, she goes against gender norms and traditions.
Oh, but she isn't just the bestest warrior ever. She's a truth seer, too. Many years ago, in a time before any Europeans had ever encroached on their lands, the Comanche people had a well-defined society and gender norms. Probably. It makes sense. Key is very close to her younger brother. Is it Taba? I don't want to pronounce that correctly. I'm sorry if I did. Who is being groomed as a leader. Of course, because he's the boy. As capable as any young man in the tribe, Key has always been a teacher and source of inspiration. So he's going to be the leader, but she's always been the one that teaches him. Because she's just the better one. And so she's been teaching him. She's been teaching him in the Comanche way. She is Patsy, the elder sister that has helped to shape him. Key is a truth teller and has insight that others do not. Because of course she does.
Magic powers.
A tomboy, she wants to prove herself in the masculine world of the Comanche. I mean, I was a tomboy, I get that. When danger threatens them all, Key sets out to prove that she is as capable as any young warrior. So it's Mulan. But in Predator, with predators.
God, this is so Disney. This is so Disney.
I mean, I even said that. I have an article on this, and I even said that in the article. I'm like, Disney's going to do what Disney's going to do, which of course is we're going to gender swap the lead, which is fine, but we're going to make it that it's in such a way that she's like she's the bestest. She's the the chosen one. She's not only a woman, she's a diverse woman. We got to make sure we push this. But basically, it sounds like Mulan with Predator.
Now this was actually announced as Skulls about 2 years ago.
That's the code name they're still using, I believe.
Yeah, and this happened before. This happens a lot with science fiction movies when they don't want the studios or the fans to know what they're working on. I mean, Blue Harvest, anybody, with Star Wars. This is coming from Diz Insider, by the way, and check out the original article. But this is not very current year to have a white dude directing a Native American feature film. I just think it's funny because it's like, well, we got to make sure it's a woman, but we got to make sure it's a woman that's diverse. What can we do? I know, let's set it hundreds of years ago in the past, and we'll make sure it's Native American. And it's like, which they're doing with the Marvel comics with Captain America too. Yeah.
With Joe.
Yeah, Joe, who's dressed in the American flag,
right, which doesn't make sense. So they're really, really trying to push us, which I don't personally have a problem, with sometimes putting women in roles that traditionally were for men, because she's a different character and it's a prequel, so it's a completely different story. That's not I don't have a problem with. What I have a problem with is they're already setting it up that she's the one that's training everybody else, and she's the truth seer, and she's like, we're already starting to see the whole Captain Marvel treatment hitting already. And that doesn't mean it's going to be a bad movie, but that's not the problem. This leak has come out in the last couple of days. But what no one's talking about is the fact that there is a lawsuit still going on, which we've mentioned, and they have a hearing for this, for a potential injunction, on the 27th. Which is in a couple days. And then suddenly this leak just happens to hit the press to get drawn up publicity for the Disney Predator treatment. Right. And by the way, it's for a woman, and a diverse woman. They're trying to get this PR out there ahead of time.
They're going to use it as a shield.
You're taking away from diverse women. What the hell?
You can't do that. Oh my God, that would be so horrible. We had an opportunity for diverse women to lead Predator, and all the man babies backed the original screenwriters.
Yeah, because how dare they? They're just wanting their property back, but how dare they? They're taking it from women. So what's going on is, and this is coming from a AVP Galaxy, who did a really, 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 really good job on this. So they have 3 articles here. Definitely go check these articles out. Yeah. I'm going to give them full credit for this because they did a really good job breaking it down. They actually have some of the hearing information and stuff. So this is talking about the original battle, which you talked about in an article previously.
Yeah. So as I understand it, this is a really complicated situation, but as I understand it, there are rights that are supposed to revert back to the screenwriters after, I believe it was 35 years.
In their case, yes.
Yeah, in their case. Basically, Hollywood was leasing these screenplays. Now, they're trying to get their rights back. Of course, Disney, when they bought Fox, they thought one of the franchises they were buying was Predator, and they were going to reboot it and all that. And then we saw that the comic books got canceled because there's this ongoing legal battle. And the thing is if the precedent is set that these guys can get their rights back to Predator, then that's going to just open up the floodgates. A lot of people who wrote screenplays for movies that were in theaters, 30, 40 years ago, all of a sudden are going to
they had their deals, because this is not the same deal for everyone. This isn't the work for hire. This was they sold their screenplay. Now, I want to clarify, too, that the U.S. copyright law only applies to the United States. So basically, Disney would get to keep the foreign rights, but they'd have to license it from these guys. And that would be more money, and they just they'll rather spend money on lawyers than actually make it right.
Well, what Disney usually does, and we've talked about this before, is they will actually burn somebody out of money. They'll tie it up in court for years and run people out of money until they just give it up or settle or whatever. Now, the smart thing for Disney to do, given all the
right thing for Disney to do,
if you just want to buy Predator, lock, stock, and barrel, just give these guys millions of dollars.
Reach an agreement.
Yeah, reach an agreement, or you get royalties from now until the end of time. But that's complicated.
But that's not what they did. Instead, they turned around and said they filed against these guys in return. So what's going on? Okay, so according to Disney, and I have it if one of these other ones, I'm trying to think. I think it's this one here. Here's the complaint. So they are given 3 notices. One was in June of 2016, and 2 were in January of this year. Okay. So what they're not denying that these men are supposed to get their copyright back by the copyright law. No. But they're claiming they didn't get the proper notification, the 2 years notification, and they're taking the notices. Which I want to remind you, they got the first notice and they didn't even acknowledge it. So they refused to even answer. Okay. And they didn't tell them there was supposed to be this error that they're claiming now until now. But their first one they're saying is, well, because they had the wrong copyright number on it.
Yeah, they're looking for a technicality. Mm-hmm. I mean, this kind of goes along with, we talked about the Disney must pay situation where Disney acquired these companies and they had existing contracts and they're supposedly not paying some of their authors. And this kind of goes along with that, I think, where they acquired all this stuff and now they don't want to honor the terms of the deal.
Yeah, they want to pray they don't alter it any further, which they're going to try. But so basically they're saying, this is the Disney's 20th Century Studios legal team. was that they were sent notice on the June 2016. Okay. And they're saying that the notice they received had errors rendering it invalid. The main error was the incorrect copyright number. Apparently the Hunters, because that's what it was called before it was Predator, script was never registered with the U.S. Copyright Office, which it isn't required to by law. But the Predator rewrite script was registered, which at that point was technically a work for hire. And because remember, they're getting their rights in the fact they were not work for hire. Yeah. And that Predator rewrite copyright number was incorrectly referenced as the Hunter's copyright number, the termination notice. So basically, they didn't have a copyright on their original script, but there was one on the rewrite. So they noted, they put that in there, and then there would not be any copyright number if it wasn't copyright registered. They're not going to have the copyright number. Okay. Yeah. So they're saying because of that, they said the first notice wasn't technically invalid. Okay, so that was their first notice. Then their second notice they got in January of 2021.
They huffed and they puffed.
I know. And the second termination addressed the copyright number error, indicating the number represents a revised version of work, not the Hunters itself. Yeah. And they said that they're taking it back. They gave them they said June 14th, 2022. Now, the actual original the termination was April 17th, 2021. Yeah. So they said, okay, fine, we'll give you June 14th, 2022. Okay. The lawyers for the studios, they said that, oh, no, it was invalid too because the date was under the 2 years required by law. Even though they sent them a notice in 2016, that didn't count. So they got the right number on the second one, but it doesn't count now because that didn't give them their 2 years notice.
This is how these things play out. People are like, why does it take so long for, legal action on anything? And it's because a lot of times it's just lawyers stalling out,
It's a load of shit. And then they got the third one. They also said they suggested mentioning the revised Predator screenplay copyright number and the title Predator was an intentional and purposeful invocation of the Predator name because in truth they only can be granted to Hunters. The third notice they got now has a termination date of January 13th, 2023. Okay. Oh, they're fine with that one. But they want that to be the official termination date, not the one that passed last month. They want that to be the official termination date that they're okay with, because that gives them a couple years to go to court and try to drag it out and to try to make sure that they run them out of money or they change the laws somehow with a lot of lobbying to make sure that they somehow get to keep the rights. I'm not, that's my speculation there, but they've done it many times before.
Yeah, so Disney is now seeking, declaration from the courts that termination notice 1 and 2 is invalid. Right. And ruling in their favor, provided there is no preliminary injunction.
Well, that's where I'm going to get to next. Okay, so in response to that, there is a hearing actually coming on, let me find it here. There's a hearing coming on the 27th, so in a couple days, guys. Yeah. Okay, and this hearing is basically going to hear about a preliminary injunction, okay? So what they're trying to do is they're trying to get an injunction against Disney that they can't move forward with their films until this is resolved. Because Disney now, right, this leak just suddenly appeared within a week of this injunction hearing.
Yeah.
A diverse woman.
Yeah, this is how these studios work, guys. We talk about that in this channel a lot, that there's usually a method to the media's madness. And this is all about swaying public opinion. Like, oh my God, those guys are awful. They stopped production on this movie with this diverse lead. How could you racists?
Yeah, exactly. How very dare you? They're trying to sway popular opinion in their way. But what's going on is they're going to have this hearing, and it's scheduled in front of Magistrate Judge Laurel Beeler. And she's going to hear both sides of it.
Via Zoom.
Via Zoom and webinar. Now, that means people can tune in and watch it. You can watch it. You're not allowed to take screenshots or videotape any of it, but you're allowed to watch the hearing. So what they're trying to do is they're trying to stop Disney. That they basically want this injunction to let them, keep until this whole thing's resolved. Disney can't move forward with it, okay? And Disney, of course, doesn't want that to happen. They want to be able to have their cake and eat it too. They want to push the date back so they can make all these Predator films and say, well, we're using it, and usage is 9/10 of the law, because that does happen a lot. Who's using it?
Yeah, I mean, this is complicated, and this does explain probably why the Marvel Comics Predator comics just disappear. Yeah.
This is the Disney difference, everyone.
This is how they do it.
This is how they do it. Disney's supposed to be this family company. They're supposed to be, all about diversity and people, and you're supposed to give them your money because they're the Disney difference. And the Disney difference is we're going to nitpick, notification dates because we want to keep the Predator franchise that we bought, and we thought we bought. We didn't. You technically didn't. Just because these guys are going to take it back, even though you knew for years. And you're going to try to make sure that you stall it out as long as possible to most likely get something changed in your favor so you can take it away from them. Instead of just you're working out a deal fairly.
I mean, then the flip side of that is, do we actually want Disney's version?
I don't know. I mean,
Predator. It's very different.
It is very different. I mean, I'm sure some people will like it. I'm sure a lot of people won't. I mean, I honestly don't have a problem with a female being the lead. I just think it's why go back hundreds of years now?
Or is that to avoid concepts that were
it could be
from the Hunters screenplay.
Right, so they can say, oh look, ours is different.
It's hundreds of years. The only concept that we're keeping is the Predator itself.
Right, so we should be allowed to keep the rights to the name. They can have their Hunters back, but we get Predator. It's just a really, really shitty thing. I'm sorry, but it is. And all you Disney apologists out there can hate on me all you want. It's a really crappy thing for Disney to do.
Yeah, this is how they roll, though. I mean, we've talked about this. I mean, this is Hollywood in a nutshell. It is very cutthroat. I mean, look at poor David Prowse. He never got any royalties from Darth Vader action figures. But
that wasn't this Disney.
No. I'm just saying in general, this is Hollywood accounting.
Right, because they never earn out. They never make a profit to pay people.
Yeah, like Return of the Jedi supposedly never made a profit, so he never got his royalty check. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's things like that Hollywood does. In this case, it's Disney's looking at this like, we need more content for Disney Plus. We need more tentpole franchises. They want
to strip mine this like they've done everything else.
Yeah, we got to make sure that $71 billion we paid for Fox massively overpaid. Now, here's what's funny. I want to talk about this for just a couple minutes. So Fox sold everything they had basically to Disney, right? And now Fox is making new stuff under the Fox banner. So people were confused. I did a video talking about the Fox animated series with the NFTs. Fox Animation, they sold off Simpsons, and they sold off Family Guy, and they sold off Bob's Burgers to Disney. But they're taking the same creators and they're making brand new series.
Right. For Fox.
That they own, because I think they knew like The Simpsons is past its prime, Family Guy is past its prime, let's go make new stuff. So Fox still exists in some capacity, and they'll just go make more content. They'll find other franchises and they'll throw it on Tubi.
Yeah, exactly what they're going to do.
So they just took $71 billion of Disney's money and they're going to go start over.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I'm still thinking about this casting. I have no problem with them casting a woman. What I have a problem with is they're just basically making Mulan with Predator.
The bestest ever.
It's like the live action Mulan.
Brave. Yeah, so we're going to wrap this one up.
Yep.
Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. We'll talk later.
Bye.